organize my...
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I am Rob, your host, and this is going to be a fun show, a show I've been looking forward to doing. But before we get into what the show's all about, let's go ahead and talk about our guest tonight. So we have Yana.
Hello.
How are you, Yana?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. And we have Taya.
Hi, good evening.
Did I say your name right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
So these two lovely ladies were nice enough to come on Food, Wine, and Whiskey and help us share with the listening audience the wonderful cuisine of Russia. Would that be fair to say?
I feel like based on what we have on our plates, it should be expanded a little bit. It's not just Russia. It's kind of like the post-Soviet Union space with a little influence from Korea.
So what used to be the Soviet Union,
Yes.
which makes up other countries who then broke away from Russia.
Correct.
That whole area kind of defines the cuisine we're going to have tonight.
Exactly.
And not only have, but also talk about, because I did a little research, a little homework.
Awesome. Excited.
But most of my talking tonight, the talking points, the food points of tonight will be from the wonderful dinner that you guys cooked for us. And that's where it kind of started for me. And you know what? Let me back up a little bit. We have Yana and we have Taya, but we also have Taya's husband, David. David, how you doing?
Howdy.
And we have Carter, always here. How you doing, Carter?
I am great.
And then we have my beautiful wife, Sandra. How you doing, babe?
Doing good.
Okay. So we're all going to just eat a little food. If you hear any munching, that's probably Matt with the Carter with the food bag on. The feed bag. Yeah. But you guys were nice enough. Well, let me start by saying this. We have a little kind of supper club food group that we do. We get together, I don't know, every 3 weeks or so, and we kind of rotate who hosts, and they come up with a menu, and we do some fun stuff. And when you all hosted last year, Yana, you said, we're going to do food from where I'm from.
Yep.
And kind of expose the rest of the group to Russian and how I keep saying Russian, but how should I call this food?
I mean, I think Russian is appropriate. Yeah.
Okay, Russians. If we think the old Soviet Union, all those countries,
Yeah.
just think that way. But we'll call it Russian just to keep it simple.
Most people still think that Soviet Union is kind of intact and everything there is Russia, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. But you did a wonderful dinner that had all kinds of different types of food that I didn't even know was associated with Russia. Things that I would have thought were these. Well, anyway, we're going to get into it. But
All I asked that night was come with an empty stomach and a very open mind.
yeah, and you guys knocked it out of the park. You started the day before in prepping and getting everything ready because these aren't things that you just put together. And even Carter contributed with a dish that he made that we'll talk about here in a little while.
Yes, I did.
And I was impressed with that dish.
Oh, thank you.
So was I.
Okay.
I'm now married to the guy.
I'm very rarely impressive.
But that night you were.
Hey, yes.
Okay. So let's how do we start off a dinner, with in Russia we're going to have dinner. And you have, let me talk about these awesome glasses that you brought. Tell us about these.
Yeah, so this is a little, memorable gift that I got from my grandmother. Unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago, but these are Russian shot glasses. We call them stopka, and these are made of crystal, and they are in the shape of a boot. So these are little crystal boots.
And are we taking a shot? Is that what we're getting ready to do?
Yes, Russian standard vodka, and then we'll chase with some pickle.
That's awesome. So when we think about my wife, who's Mexican, it's always tequila, and you chase with a piece of lime, right? Mm-hmm. And so vodka, I'd never heard this, that you chase with a pickle.
Yeah,
Is it something to do with that briny taste on it that with the vodka gives it some kind of, should I be expecting something?
Some salt and acid. That's what.
That's it? Okay.
got
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
All right.
Matt, if you can take a second from eating and do
Yeah,
this
yeah,
with us.
I-
Do some drinking with us.
I'll take off the food bag.
Okay. Is there a toast that we say, or
You say na zdrowie.
To help.
you're going to say it for everybody?
Na
No,
zdrowie.
Well, I like the pickle chaser.
Very good. Takes away the edge.
Anything briny or like pickled would be good. Pickled herring is another one. Like on a piece of like rye bread.
Rye bread is another thing.
Okay. Do we have pickled herring here tonight?
No, we do not.
We do not.
So let me start by saying, when we first were doing our food groups and doing all these different nights with food and things, and Yana said she's going to do, Russia said she was going to do Russian night. Yana said she was going to do Russian night at their house. My first thought was, what in the world is Russian food? I mean, can you put a meal together with Russian food? You know, I'm thinking very simple, very bland, not a lot going on in
That'd be
Russian
Irish
cuisine.
food.
That's what I thought of too. You know, cabbage and potatoes. You know, what else is there?
Which we have
sorry,
both in our
Ireland.
cuisine.
So I didn't know a lot about Russian food, and I think, is it just here in America where that perception is there that we don't know a lot? I mean, if you go to most homes, most families in America, and say, can you make something, a Mexican type dish? Yeah, somebody can make tacos or enchiladas, or can you make an Italian type pasta or something? Can you make something that might be Asian influenced or something? Most of the time it's yes, and then your standard American food, right? You can cook these different kind of cuisines. If I went to those same homes and said, can you make a Russian dish? They're going to look at me like,
What is a
what?
Russian?
Yeah, what
Get
what
out the
is
mayonnaise.
it? Yeah, what is it? Is mayonnaise?
Oh yeah. Man.
Okay,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
I wouldn't have known that.
Well, I think that Russian food has not become very popular in America just because Russian food is always very, very complicated and time consuming. You see, in Russia, as a pretty northern country, you get just a few very, very basic components like carrots and potatoes, eggs, beets,
Cabbage.
cabbage. That's pretty much it.
a whole bunch of grains.
But but you've got to make it very, very complicated, I would say, and that's why
So it's the ingredients that you use
Ingredients
with
that-
Same
those.
ingredients, just
very basic ingredients, because a lot of people in Soviet Union were pretty poor, had access only to a few basic things. However, the more elaborate you make, the better of a housewife you are.
Ah, okay, well,
So it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to make Russian food. So maybe that's why it hasn't been really popular, but nevertheless, it's really good.
Well, and maybe to add to that a little bit, maybe the political side of things probably contributed to that as well. Cold War and then the Iron Curtain, and the two cultures were not really as
we don't cover a lot of Russian culture here in the States.
no. So I think that also contributed to the fact that people were like, "What is Russian food?"
I think that's a very big part of it. So, but I am so happy that we got exposed to it, because come to find out, man, there are some good things going on in Russia when it comes to food.
Oh yeah.
And I want to talk about a few of those things tonight. So you talk about how complex and difficult and time consuming, and some of the listeners may have started out going, all right, I can't wait to hear this because I'd like to make a dish or two, and then they just heard that comment. Or should they be afraid to try to look up a recipe and make a recipe
No.
of what we're going to talk about?
No, not at all. The ingredients, like Taya was saying, the ingredients are very, very basic.
Okay.
A lot of the complication comes from chopping. Like if you notice, like what's on your plate is very like finely chopped or finely shredded. So it's a labor-intensive process, and that's I think where the most
Okay.
most of the complication is coming from.
So the first dish I want to start with that I think most of the listeners have heard of, but maybe didn't associate it with being a Russian dish, because I didn't. I'm going to show my ignorance and tell you I thought it was a German dish. Any idea what I'm thinking about?
Borscht.
No.
Oh.
Hmm.
and maybe I'm wrong on this. You guys can tell me.
Beef stroganoff.
That's it.
Yeah.
Beef stroganoff.
Wow.
I thought it was a German dish for some reason. Whenever I
too.
saw that, I just thought German dish, and it's not. It's actually a Russian dish.
There is a little bit of an interesting history about this particular dish, and Matt knows that history a lot better than I do.
Yeah, so
Well-
I think it was developed. I mean, the dish came out in Russia,
Okay.
and then I think a French chef took the Russian dish and Frenchified it,
Okay.
and instead of just having regular beef in it, he used filet, that kind of thing.
He stepped it up a notch.
Stepped it up a notch.
Okay.
Then I think that dish, was taken by the Russians to say, okay, now we're gonna cook beef stroganoff in this way, and so it's kind of a hybrid. It was definitely started in Russia, but the French put their twist on it, and then that was adopted by
The Russians.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say, giving you credit, I think it was you a couple months ago who made the dish. Wasn't it you, or was it Yana who made that?
No, he made that.
Yeah, I've made
Looked
it.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Tasted even better.
Is that a recipe from the family, or is that just a recipe you
no,
pulled up?
just a recipe
Okay.
I pulled from somewhere.
So-
But yeah,
So that to me is the one dish that people they know. They've heard of beef stroganoff, but I don't think they've associated it. I didn't, with being a Russian dish. So that was the first one that jumped to me. You said, which is another dish you make, you thought it would be.
borscht.
I didn't even know what that was until we went to dinner at your house that night. Now it's like my favorite thing. I mean, it's so good.
Mine too.
And a white guy made it.
That's
Not even
right.
Russian.
I mean, well, most Russians are white.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm just used to saying that being married to my wife.
yeah, understood. And I don't think I made a traditional version because I used pork sausage in it instead of using beef. I think beef is pretty traditional in it. But
Texas
beyond,
borscht.
So tell them what borscht is. It's
It's a soup.
It's a
Soup made with red cabbage and beets and carrots and potatoes
obviously.
and a lot of time it doesn't necessarily have to have a meat component to it, but I think that traditionally it's with beef, right?
Not
beef.
just any beef, but it has to be a piece that has a bone in it because that's where all the flavor is
Flavor.
coming from, which is why I would very much disagree with his previous statement that
not
borscht-
just disagree, Carter. Very much disagree,
Ty, what
Carter.
do you think?
Yes, you gotta have a bone in there.
I think of a ham hock. You
Yeah.
know, when you want that flavor in there, you have the bone with the big piece. Something like that
Well,
is what we're thinking
yeah.
about.
Well,
Okay, but not ham.
I want to ask, coming from the Russian area or Russia, I know it's Kazakhstan, but coming here to America, did you have a hard time finding a lot of the seasonings or ingredients that you were looking for to make certain meals?
Good.
the beef with a bone would be pretty
The hardest?
pretty hard.
You'd have to go
Yeah.
to a butcher shop.
That's what I was going to ask.
Just like at a Kroger, yeah.
And did they look at you like, you want what? Yeah.
Another very weird dish. I don't know if you're gonna go there in there. Холодец, the jelly.
No, I don't know. I didn't have that one
the
written
meat-
down.
The meat jello. That requires.
Wait. You said meat,
Meat jello,
Jell-O.
served cold.
Served
Well,
cold.
okay,
Okay,
that's
'cause-
interesting.
Jello,
I
Jello,
tried finding
think,
it at a Russian store today. They did not have any, and I don't know how to make it.
because you say meat
It's
Jello,
kinda
it sounds like
chicken
an
soup,
oxymoron.
but jello, and then you add some mustard sauce on top of.
So is it
hot.
something that's just congealed?
Yes.
It essentially, yeah.
It's
so
tough. It's tough for Americans to kind of
I'm having a hard time with
Okay, and then
picture. You're like, let's just
flavor.
heat it up so it becomes a soup.
Ideally, you would okay. The closest probably would if you've seen chicken, if you get roasted chicken and then you put it in the fridge and then when you get out,
Yeah.
there's some jello in there.
Absolutely.
Kind of like that.
And you
So
eat
you-
it cold.
Yeah, you boil down the meat for 8 hours, and then not the pork. The
Okay.
pork. That's when you asked about the toughest ingredient to find. It would be a pork feet.
Yeah, pig
Right?
feet.
Pig feet.
Yeah.
A pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That aren't pickled.
Essentially, anything that
Raw.
has a lot of fat in it
And
Because-
gelatin, uh-huh.
Yeah, because that's what helps the whole thing to set into what's going to become
Jell-O.
how it is. Yeah, and this is what it looks like.
Okay, that's
Just
what it looks like.
boil
Okay,
it
you guys
down for
can't see
hours
this,
and
but
hours, and then
We'll
you
have
just,
to post that
add
on the
some
Facebook
spices.
page.
Yeah.
we will
because-
post a picture of a lot of the foods we're talking about tonight on Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard on Facebook, so you can go there and check them out and see what we're talking about.
Now, what I will say is, my comparison on this thing is like I don't know if you've ever had like a
Head cheese.
head cheese or something like that. Like it's, I guess it's like popular in England. You know, like they take like the I guess the pig head or something like that, and they boil it all down, and then
Wow.
it makes like a kind of like a loaf, and it's got meat and the fat that's been gelatinized in there. So a lot of times, though, like at least in my experience with holidettes, like. You kind of eat it like you can eat it on its own, but like you eat it with like crackers or you eat it with like
Rye bread.
Rye bread and that kind of
either
stuff.
mustard or horseradish.
That's
Okay,
right.
that makes sense.
So
Especially with the
it's
rye.
not like you're just a lot of times just chowing down on this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like you're spreading it. And if you think about it, I mean, it's just a fat, just like butter is a fat.
Well, I'm gonna jump in and start talking about the night we had dinner and some of the things that we had. And Sandra, you jump in too if there's something that stood out. Matter of fact, I'll let you go first. Was there something, one or two things that stood out to you that night that you just loved?
Yes.
Before you get to the main dish, just working our way up, starting with the appetizers, the board that made. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the carrots.
Okay. So we are eating
Carrots.
those now.
And I don't remember if we had what
We didn't
was
have
this?
kimchi. Is that kimchi?
It's kind
type
of
of
a
kimchi?
version of kimchi, but this one also has fish, like little fillets of fish in it, and it like just marinated in that same sauce that the carrots.
Because when I
and the
think
onions and
kimchi,
everything.
you know what I think?
Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, both the fish and the carrots that Sandra liked are that Korean influence that I previously mentioned.
So how many different cultures influence the food in Russia? Is there a bunch?
How big is Russia?
It's
Okay.
How
huge.
many countries does
But
it
when I
share
think-
a border with? That's
But when
how
I
you
think
start
of
to
Soviet
count.
Union, I know they're close to China, so there's some Asian influence.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have thought Korea, even though I know Korea is below China and connects to China with North Korea. But I still wouldn't have thought kimchi would be something that fed over into
Yeah.
Russia. and
Pretty
it does.
close. I mean,
Wow.
There's a lot of Russian Koreans, especially in Kazakhstan.
that's true.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, that's interesting. I would have never thought that.
Like,
So back to the kimchi and back to the carrots.
Are those pretty staple things that you would find?
I think they have become very much of a staple. Any grocery store you go to at least in Kazakhstan, I'm sure in Russia is the same way. You will always find a little station where you can find Korean salads, and it could be the carrots or the cabbage or any types of like fish, tongue or heart or liver.
So you guys eat a lot of organ meats.
We do.
And
Waste not want.
what makes
right.
the carrot now? Is it some type of brine? Is it a vinegar that's on there? What is it?
It's vinegar, salt, pepper, a little bit of sugar, garlic, and oil. And what you
Sesame
do,
oil, is that in there?
I think it's just regular oil.
Okay.
So what you do is you have your carrots, and they're shredded into those super thin, but also super long strings almost.
Yeah.
You chop up your garlic super fine and put the garlic on top of the carrots, and then you heat up the mixture of all of the, your vinegar, your oil, your spices. Some people like to add cumin or cinnamon or what's the other one? Coriander. So those types of
Okay.
spices.
Do they just sell that already done?
Yes, that's what we're eating right now.
No, but I'm saying the seasoning all already blended. If I didn't want to
No.
make it, oh,
But it's very easy. Like you heat it up in a pot or in a pan, and then when it comes to like close to boiling, you just pour it over your carrots with the garlic, put the lid on, put it in the fridge, you're done. And just
So-
marinades.
And how long? Overnight?
Overnight.
Is that the best?
A couple of hours.
A couple
but
hours is good
overnight
enough.
is the best.
Okay,
Yeah.
a couple hours is good enough, but overnight's preferred to get those flavors. And then the kimchi is do you make that? Yana, Taya, do you guys make that?
I don't.
No.
I mean, it's,
That's a job for the Russian babas.
Okay.
Grandmothers, yeah.
Do
have the
they
touch.
do that?
They have the touch.
because when I think kimchi, I'm thinking you're making it, you're going to bury it in the ground, let it ferment for a couple months. It's I'm going, okay, wait, you guys do this?
Not on the ground. When my granny visits, she pickles cabbage for us. She pickles mushrooms for us. Makes the hollandaise.
Wow.
Makes it look easy, but spends hours and hours in
Yes.
the kitchen and just put very simple ingredients, not a whole lot of spices, but comes out amazing.
Simple ingredients, lots of time, low temperatures, lots of love.
There you go.
Okay, so two things
better.
that I want to bring up that we had that night at that meal. Both of them Americans know very, very well, and they're popular in America.
All right.
But the way you all made them blows the American version out of the water.
Obviously.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Olivier has to be
I
one.
think I do.
Potato
What?
salad thing?
Potato
The
salad.
potato salad, Olivier, we call it Olivier, has to be one.
Okay, and the other one?
I don't know, maybe grapes. I don't know, but
Was it crepes?
Nope.
You ready?
Chicken Kiev?
I know.
What is it?
Deviled eggs.
Deviled
Deviled
eggs.
eggs.
See, she knows how good they were. To you all, it's just normal stuff. To us, we were like, wow, that is awesome.
They were different. They were seasoned differently.
And they had, I think you had ham in it or something in them?
Yep.
Taya
Or
made
bologna
the deviled
or-
eggs, yeah.
yeah, they had ham. They had
Ham in them.
ham, parmesan.
I mean, these deviled eggs
Garlic,
were, they
mayo.
rocked. I mean, I was like, I felt like a pig that night. I mean, I'm a pig every day, but I really felt like a pig that. I felt like Matt with the feedback on. Eating those deviled eggs. I mean, I would wait for somebody not to be looking so I could grab another one because I was like, man, they're good. And the potato salad. This is the best potato salad. I'm not a huge potato salad fan because in America, a lot of people, I will make it, but in America, a lot of people make it and put fresh onion. I'm not a big fresh onion.
I'm with you there.
The thing about what I liked about the potato salad, potatoes are small. Usually in our potato salads, the potatoes are
Big
a little
chunks.
bit bigger. These are cubed so small.
Once again, labor intensive, lots of chopping
Yes.
is involved.
And the smaller the pieces are, the better the flavors meld together.
I could see that.
And when if my grandmother is here and I'm cooking and she's like, no, you
And
gotta
I-
make it much smaller.
I think that's a great point because the potato doesn't overwhelm the bite. You know, when you take a bite, it's not like just a hint of the flavor with all potato. This is a very well married flavors together. I think that's a great point. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, kind of on that note, I kind of shadowed Baba when she was living with us, cooking for us.
Okay, you're going to have to define.
Grandma.
You've used that name.
Baba, grandma.
Baba means
Yeah,
grandma.
Russian
Babushka.
grandma. Babushka, yeah, Baba.
Okay.
And so she would cook for us and just incredible meals. But you could not replace her labor, cutting, dicing the vegetables with a food processor. You
That's
couldn't do
just knife
That's
skills.
cheating.
that. That's cheating.
He offered that.
She-
Like, look how much easier it is. She's like, no thanks.
No thanks. I'm,
No.
I'm with her.
No, she,
I
wouldn't, she
agree.
wouldn't eat my food if I used the food processor. To
Just
cut
not
the-
gonna be
to
as
shred
good.
the carrots or do the onion.
That's
It's
funny.
not the same. You got to do it. You got to spend the
Right
time.
way.
The love has to be in the dish.
Exactly. The
Okay.
sweat and tears.
I will also say my wife is excellent. Yana here is excellent with her knife skills. Like way better than me.
That's why he stays married to me.
Oh.
That fear factor is strong.
She, like, when she makes Olivier, like the potatoes are tiny, like they're awesome. It's super good.
Well, it's fantastic tonight, but I remember specifically that night, those two things stood out to me as being very, very good.
Well, I think we need to kind of pause for a quick second and make a note of what is defined as a salad. To a typical person from the United States or who has lived in the United States for their entire life or most of their life, a salad is leafy greens with some vegetables and a dressing. That is not at all what Russians call a salad. To a Russian person, a salad essentially must contain a starch, a protein, and a ton of mayonnaise.
Really?
I can't think of a salad or
Vinaigrette.
a starch, A protein,
It
no
does.
mayonnaise.
And no mayonnaise.
Oil, yeah.
Oil.
Okay, that's a
Fat.
good point.
Oil.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, mayonnaise is kind of like that oil. It's that fat.
We
that's
have
in there.
entire stands in the grocery
So-
stores dedicated to mayonnaise.
When I think of potato salad, the only other salad I can, and it doesn't even have a, I think of a pasta salad, but doesn't have a protein in it. The starch would be the pasta, and then you have a little oil in there, and then you have no protein. What are other salads in Russia?
The big one is herring. We would call it dressed herring or herring under the fur coat. It's a salted fish,
Okay.
right? Herring, and then you put that on the very bottom. Then you add some onions. Some people don't add raw onions, but then the same familiar ingredients. You take your boiled potatoes, boiled carrots, boiled beets, some boiled eggs, and you make them very small, tiny. Shred them, yeah. Put them layers of them on top of the herring, and then you put mayo, layers of
Don't
mayo
forget
in
the
between.
mayo.
Yeah, mayo's between every single layer.
Do you rinse the herring to get that salt off? That was the first thing I thought. That's going to be awfully salty.
Nope.
No.
No, it's there, and
Just
then
let
once you cut it, it's so beautiful. Those layers are just looking at you, and
Well, so back to the herring. I think that's the most labor-intensive part of making that salad, is because not only do you have to chop up that herring like into teeny tiny little cubes, but you also have to pull out every little one of those bones.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's work.
And it is a layered salad. So like Taya was saying, you have herring, mayo, potato, mayo, carrots, mayo, and
Kinda
the
like a
layers go up and up and
seven-layer
up.
dip.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
And
yeah.
then the beets go on top, and the mayonnaise goes on top of the beets, and those two kind of mix
It
together.
looks like a cake.
It
Yeah,
does, and look
it
how
does.
beautiful that top layer is. Like the
Okay,
mayonnaise
do you
turns that.
cut it like a piece of cake?
Yep.
kind of yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? That is interesting.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, everything you guys make looks like a cake. That last Jello thing looked like a cake.
Yeah. It does kind of. It's and I will.
The
admit-
presentation for being
Festive,
food
yeah.
that's going to be like what? The presentation, you
Oh,
go,
it's-
oh, it looks kind of good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I do not like herring. I am not like it's to my taste, it's very fishy, and I don't like very fishy things. But to some people, they absolutely love it. But I will say it is a beautiful looking dish, no doubt about it. Presentation is always really nice with Russian cuisine.
Yeah.
Well, you eat with your eyes.
That's what
I think
Yana
I've heard
always
Yana
says.
say that.
Yeah.
You eat with your eyes. And
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you have another from that night?
appetizer? I think everything. I can't remember everything. I'm just thinking about that chicken.
Well, we'll get there. But here's the thing that stood out to me. You made your version of a charcuterie board.
Ah, yes.
And there were two things that you said have to be a part of that. One we already kind of talked about, and you can tell us why this is so popular, the lingua,
Tongue.
Lingua.
beef tongue.
Yes, beef tongue.
So where does this being so popular in Russia come from?
I don't know why it's so popular, other than the fact that you just eat every part of the animal because you don't waste anything. Because, like Taya was saying, it's not a very rich country, especially when you're talking about your middle class, population. Believe it or not, though, in Kazakhstan at least, and I don't know if that's the case in Russia. I would imagine so. Lingua or tongue is a very expensive cut of meat. It's more expensive than even your fillet.
Really?
Very expensive.
Because people want it so much. Has to be.
I'm not sure why it's so expensive,
I mean,
but it is
It's
very
why you only got one per
One
cow.
tongue.
Delicacy.
That's
but in Mexico, it's a very inexpensive cut of meat, right?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's where I go
Lot
to
of
get it,
help.
to like a Hispanic market or Mexican market or something. That's the cheapest place to go to get.
Yeah, when I
lingua.
see it, I don't see it being expensive in the markets here, like Fiesta or something like that.
Yeah, no,
It's
Walmart
not
but
has
expensive.
them, and it's $20.
Yeah.
Walmart. It's
but it's
Really?
also a giant
Expensive.
piece of meat.
No, it's not, but it's
It's a
definitely
4-pound
delicacy.
tongue.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
No.
It's not small. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that.
But it's definitely
This
a
chicken is about
delicacy.
this long, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you would do it for like New Year's, like a special occasion. So usually it's not an everyday thing.
So you
Yeah.
treated us that night.
I told you I would.
Wow. Okay, so like steaks, there's different cuts of meat that you like. On the tongue, you think about a cow tongue, the front of the tongue to the back. Is there a preference on? Do people go, "This is my favorite part of the tongue"?
The back of the tongue where it connects to
The rest of the
the
body.
rest of the body. Let's leave it at that. It kind of has like a little fatty portion sitting on top of it. So I always cut off that fatty
Okay.
portion. I just like the main muscle, if you wish.
That was my thought. That somebody's not going to want towards the back. You're going to want more towards middle
The
front.
meaty.
But after you've cooked it, you have to peel it because you want to get rid of that like upper layer skin.
Because it's just
that ha-
chewy. You can't.
Well, I mean, I know this is gross, but touch your tongue, you have those teeny
Little
tiny
buds.
little like
Just
so
like
you don't want to eat that. It's like
Okay.
so you
It'd be a
want
texture thing.
it is a texture thing.
You could eat it, but you prefer not to.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you could, but yeah, we don't. So you
So you
peel
do
it.
waste a little part of it.
We have
Yeah,
two dogs.
very little part of it, but yeah.
We have two
dogs.
dogs. None of that
There
is
you go.
wasted.
There you
Trust
go.
me. And then you serve it cold. You slice it into thin slices, and once again, you serve it with either a cracker or a thin piece of rye bread. You can use mustard. You can use horseradish. I just eat it by itself because it's delicious. And I remember I was talking to Sandra, and she was a bit hesitant on. I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
try it, but it literally melts in your mouth. It's in your mouth. It's so tender.
It was very good.
thought
I
it was
didn't
very
think I
good.
would eat
I
it.
typically would not try that, but that night I did, and I had more than one piece. I will tell you that. It was that good. The other thing you had was the
Sala.
what is that?
Raw bacon?
No.
No. The
Yeah.
pate?
Yes.
Chicken liver pate.
Chicken.
Chicken
and-
liver mousse.
Yeah, which was so good. I was like, okay, again, not typical that we would, in America think about for, you make me a salmon mousse or something. Okay, that sounds good. But chicken liver mousse pate, I'm going, not really.
Believe it or not, that was a treat for me because I don't get to cook it a lot because Matt does not like it. He doesn't
You
like.
don't like that?
No, like liver, it has kind of an iron that that whatever that iron is in there, it really hits my tongue the wrong way, and
Okay.
it's like, man. I mean, I know everything else is good, but that aftertaste, like, I can't
deal.
stand it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's a liver cake that's made. It's layered. Like
Another
So
cake.
good.
that looks beautiful. It's the most beautiful cake. But every time I see it, I want to eat it. But I try it, and I just can't do the liver.
Man, I love that stuff that night. That
Well,
was
so the
good.
one that I make, it's not just livers. It has onions and apples and different types of seasonings.
cream.
But then you fold it into some whipped heavy cream or
To
heavy
get the
whipped cream.
moussey
Yeah,
kinda.
and that's
Yeah.
what gives you that airy, bubbly, super light, beautiful texture.
Which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
What else for you that night?
Everything was good, but I'm with them with the
On the liver.
pate. Yeah. Not
What
a
about
liver.
sala? What did you guys think about the sala?
What was the sala?
That was the
Raw bacon? Raw bacon.
Oh, I thought that was fantastic. Do people not like that? Can you tell I like food? Is that coming across at all? It's like, yeah, show it to me. I'll try it.
I don't like it.
I think
You don't like it?
No.
Like Americans, they see it and they're like, this
Get out
is-
the frying pan.
Yeah, get out the frying pan. You're not supposed to eat this, But it is like, I guess
it's cured,
seasoned or
cooked,
cured
so
in a
it's
way
cured.
to where it's, it's certainly okay to eat. But yeah, I think it has a lot of flavor. I'm a real big fan of it. But
You weren't when it was first served to you.
yeah, well, it just looked weird. I was like, should I eat this? I don't know.
Once again, going back to Baba, when grandmother was living with us, I brought home bacon from the store, and she goes in and just takes a piece and starts eating it. And I'm like, well, it's cured, it's smoked,
Yeah.
and so I was like, I guess you can do that, and that makes a whole lot of sense.
She's like, yeah, watch me.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I think I would have had a heart attack.
I
'Cause
would have too.
Every time I do anything with bacon, I feel like I wash my hands.
But it's
28 times.
right, but it's not raw.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
true.
that is
true.
true.
That is
That
true,
is
yeah.
true. I wouldn't. I'm
So go home
not
and eat
gonna
some raw-
do that,
cured
but
bacon.
Go add some raw bacon.
Yeah.
Not raw,
Cured.
cured.
Cured bacon.
Smoked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because out of that night, there was nothing that there was only one thing I didn't like, and it wasn't because of how you made it. It was an ingredient in it that I don't like. And
onions.
We'll get there in just a second. No, it's not onions.
Oh,
Now Yana's thinking.
I know. I'm like, what did I make?
So I want to move on to. I would have never thought in Russian cuisine that you have this pastry that you make with that topping filling. What is this?
You're
The
the
Yes, the
the
cheese.
hachapuri.
Oh, hachapuri.
That's actually not.
Say it again.
It's called hachapuri,
Okay.
but it's not Russian. It's actually Georgian.
Okay.
And it's your pastry filled with a very specific type of cheese. It has to be kind of briny and salty, but also melty.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be topped with a raw egg, and then you return it back to the oven to cook the egg long enough to where it's still runny, but it's also safe to eat.
Okay. See,
yes.
now I wasn't disappointed about that night until right now. Now I'm
I
disappointed.
see,
Yeah,
that's my
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you essentially
You should have
like,
told me that, Yana.
the pastry is formed in a shape of a boat, so you kind of break off a little like end of the boat, and you're supposed to stir the egg into the cheese and butter.
Can I ask? I mean, it's not like you did a lot for that dinner. Why didn't we get that?
I
She doesn't
am
like where you-
freaked out by raw egg
Right.
yolk.
Oh,
I just
really?
Can't do it.
She's
Okay.
like, it doesn't matter. Like she hates like egg yolk.
Yep.
Like I don't know what it is.
Really?
you know?
no, oh, you don't need eggs over easy, over medium, nothing.
Scrambled.
That's the only way she eats eggs.
Well, that dish, I mean, and you say it's from Georgia. Was Georgia not part of the?
They were.
I thought
Yeah,
they were.
yeah. Stalin was from Georgia.
I thought we were going to call everything
Just saying.
Russia.
I know. She said it's not Russia, it's Georgia.
I
was
know.
like,
And I
well,
went, I thought we were going to call everything
I don't want
Russia
to
tonight.
offend anybody,
Oh,
but that's
any Georgians?
yes.
Okay. Comes from
Culturally,
Georgia.
yes, it's
Okay.
that. It's their
That's
dish.
a
It's just
fantastic dish.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So, what else from that night?
Are we getting to the food?
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Chicken Kiev.
What is it?
Chicken.
Chicken
Kiev.
Kiev.
Chicken Kiev. That.
So, is
was
this one of the
amazing.
more popular dishes in Russia?
I had never had it until that night. In my life.
I
And
don't
you're-
believe.
Wow.
Yes.
I do not believe it's a Russian dish.
I don't think so.
It's a French dish that's named after
Oh,
the,
well, then
the
I like
capital
that. I
of
like
Ukraine.
French.
Oh,
Yes.
look at
But
that.
I think it has been adopted like into Russian
Incredible.
cuisine.
Okay.
Yes,
Sure.
yes,
I love
that's
Thai.
very
I've
true.
never had it until that night.
But that speaks a lot to your all's food that people would even make a dish that they would somehow
Name.
deem Russian and with
Yeah.
the Russian
I
name.
think
Yeah.
it's Russian-ish in
Yeah.
the name,
Yeah.
Kiev, but yeah, it's not a traditionally
What
Russian
was
dish.
really
I was just
good-
working really hard to impress people.
People will know it's really good when you get a cube of butter in the middle, and then you
Not just butter,
okay
compound butter
compound butter with all kinds of herbs and flavor
and garlic.
and garlic.
Yep.
And then you fry it, and then you finish baking it. Is that right?
So you take a chicken breast, you pound it out to where it's about half an inch thick. Then you take that big chunk or like cube of compound butter, put it in the middle, wrap the chicken around it to form a bowl. Then you do the 3 stages of breading: your flour, your egg, and your panko.
Now, can you put it in the egg, or does the egg bother you?
While you
It's scrambled.
scrambled. Thank you,
okay.
Sandra. And then you deep fry it to give it that beautiful
Golden brown.
golden crust, and then you finish it in the oven just to make sure the chicken is fully cooked.
So it's flour, egg, and is it breadcrumbs, or do you use panko?
I use panko.
Panko,
I use
that's what I
panko
like.
because
okay.
it's crispier
Yeah.
and lighter,
Yeah.
and it's not as
I agree.
stuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the idea, like if you've cooked your chicken Kiev perfectly, once you cut into it, that butter that was sitting as like that big frozen cube in there, it's all melted and it just like runs out.
It's an
and
explosion of juice.
Yes,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
herbs
delicious.
and garlic, and that's kind of your sauce for the meal or for the dish.
Which is fantastic. I mean, Again, I keep saying that. Obviously, we're doing the episode tonight on Russian food because I was just blown away at how good everything was. So
Well, thank you.
definitely impressed with that. What do we move on to next? Do you
The
remember?
borscht. The borscht was
We already
also
talked about
delicious.
that.
That was, I don't know if we fully discussed it.
Oh,
It
you
was
need more?
delicious, too.
Well,
That's all Matt.
I was.
It was delicious.
When I can say this, like when I said I was making borscht, Yana was like, she looked at me like, come on, what kind of crappy American version are you gonna make of this dish? And I think she actually liked it.
I did.
So there you go.
Okay.
I win.
So here's a question for you. You guys, another thing you shared with us was a savory and kind of a sweet crepe.
Crepes. We call
But-
them
Oh, yes.
blini.
That's what I was going to ask you, blini. That's what I had. They make like a pancake or a crepe of that.
Mm-hmm.
We had the crepe version. Tell us what you remember. What you made that night? The savory one and the sweet one.
The savory ones were filled with just cooked and seasoned ground beef. And then the sweet ones...
Ham and cheese, I think you
I
all
will-
said.
Oh,
Ham and cheese.
Was it
Yeah,
ham and cheese?
yeah.
Okay, so yes, that was ham and cheese. And the sweet ones were Russian farmer's cheese with a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of sugar, and raisins.
That's what.
that was
What do you
good.
think hit me?
The raisins.
You don't like
I
raisins?
don't like raisins.
Oh,
really?
man.
My brother hates raisins.
Yeah.
He will not eat anything that...
So I
was
took a
touched
bite of
by
that one that
raisin.
night, and I went, "Oh, "Can't eat that."
Oh man,
Let me have another ham and cheese.
yeah. Man, the farmer's cheese ones, that's like my absolute favorite. I love those.
You do?
Absolutely love
Do you
those.
ever make those in your house?
Yes, crepes are a staple, absolutely. My kids love it. And it's once again, you go back to, the simple ingredients of flour, milk, water, a little
Eggs.
oil, egg, yeah.
Yeah.
And just make crepes, and then you can put anything. Our oldest likes it with red
Potatoes.
caviar.
Of course.
Oh, wow.
Our 6-year-old loves red caviar in them.
You
yes,
give
so-
caviar to your 6-year-old?
Oh, yeah, he's had it since 2.
So what about your friends then? What kind of caviar do they get?
They don't get caviar.
Not
Red
beluga,
caviar is
I'll
one
tell you that much.
It's also a luxury.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can add, and another thing is condensed sweetened milk.
Oh, yeah.
That's always
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Kind
So
of like
you
the
could just-
dipping sauce.
Uh-huh. In there, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny as we
perfect.
talk about the different ingredients are very similar to a lot of the ingredients we use for. It's just how you put them together, and it's interesting that way because even in my wife's Mexican and a lot of the foods that you raisins and condensed milk and those kind of things are very common with a lot of things that you guys make.
Oh, yeah.
So
Now, caviar is one of those things that is a staple of Russian cuisine.
Is it really?
Like, for sure. Like, I guess I kind of knew that, but, like, kind of didn't know that. But yeah, it's a thing. And I like caviar. She does not. Yana does not really like caviar. But
you don't like caviar at all?
No, I'm a cheap date. Apparently.
Wait, let me guess. Let me look. Hold on.
Meat and potatoes.
No. I'm gonna go with the Bell.
Yeah. That,
Am I right?
That should have been one of that's instead of going out to fancy restaurants. When we were dating, I should have just taken you to Taco Bell.
She'd have been thrilled.
You know what? It's your loss.
Yeah.
Financial
loss. Yeah.
It's actually funny that you brought it up. I was going to make the analogy there because, like Taco Bell has about 10 ingredients in their kitchen and they make 27 different,
Yeah. Different
things,
ways of
menu
using them.
items out of those. I think Russian cuisine is kind of similar in the way that you have your basic ingredients, your potatoes, your carrots, your cabbage, your beets, beef, mayonnaise, but you make like 125 different things out of it.
And so beets, are they very popular? Because here in the States, that's the one
You don't
vegetable
hear
people
a
are
lot
like,
about
I ain't eating no
Canned
beet.
beets.
Canned beets.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, can't
So you guys buy fresh beets,
Yes.
and then
You
is
boil
it-
them?
We boil. Okay, give us the process.
You do it. I don't know how to make
You
them.
Get some beets, and in Houston, by the way, the best beets are in Phoenicia. You don't get just a bunch of like 2 or 3 little ones. They have good big size of
Oh, wow.
beets and without any of the
Green.
greenery. That you don't really use greenery. So you boil them down and then you peel them and then you can shred them. Mainly you can shred them and you can make a salad with shredded beets and then some garlic and mayo.
What does
That's it.
shred them mean?
Shredded?
Like the
Oh, okay.
carrots?
These
Yeah, like
are
carrots.
diced.
Well,
Yes,
like
yeah,
like
this is
a
different.
cheese grate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking that, but I'm seeing these diced, and I'm going,
this
okay.
is a different salad.
Yeah.
So you can have
Either
different
way.
Yes.
Okay.
But then the beets with garlic and some walnuts and mayo.
And mayo.
Yes.
And mayo.
Okay,
Yeah.
Always
I hear
mayo.
mayo.
Always mayo.
I'm hearing mayo. Is there a brand? Like you just don't
Yes.
go to Kroger and get
Is
the
it,
Kraft
is it
mayonnaise.
Duke's?
Well,
Dukes
so
is the best. For me, at least.
Totally agree.
There is a
Russian
special
mayonnaise.
Russian
Mahev?
mayonnaise.
Mahev, yeah.
Okay.
Is that the most popular?
It's quail egg. It's quail egg mayonnaise as opposed to.
Oh.
But you can use Hellman's or whatever. But the Mahev is very good.
Can you find that in the Russian grocery store here in Houston?
Yes, actually, I went today to the Russian General Store, and that's the only store that I've been able to find it here in Houston.
But you bought them all out, so you won't be able to find them.
Here
Yeah,
in
I kinda-
Katy, we had a Russian store open up.
Corner.
Yeah. Have you been?
No,
In the
not the
harvest of the
corner.
actual Arbat. Arbat, there's
There's
one.
Oh, that's
Two.
right. Arbat. Yeah.
There's two.
Arbat and she mentioned at Harvest Market
There's a Russian
on
corner.
Westheimer Parkway they have a Russian
Corner,
area.
literally.
corner.
Okay, that's what it pulls up when I pull it up.
No, they also pulls
But
up Arbat.
is new, yeah.
Okay.
And we've been
On Katy Bend.
Katy Fort Bend.
Yes,
Road.
that's
Right
what I'm
across from
thinking of.
South
Typhoon,
of
Texas.
I-10.
Yep. Does that have enough
No,
in
not
it, or
Not my have.
okay?
They don't have
So that's the brand you have to. If you're gonna buy any kind of Russian mayonnaise, Mahev.
That's what I would go for. yeah.
Okay.
Okay, another dish that's on our plate reminds me. It's different, but it's similar to a baked bean. This is a little. Is this a salad? It's not a salad.
It's a snack.
It's a snack.
It's a snack.
Okay.
Uska,
Yeah, I don't know
appetizer.
how. Like, it is kind of like an appetizer. It's just a snack, and it's essentially your beans in some form of a tomato sauce with other types of
It
vegetables.
looks like a barbecue beans. It has that
It's
look
just not
to
as
it, like
sweet.
barbecue.
Yeah.
No, it's not as sweet. But it's very, very good.
Yeah, I was thinking like a baked bean, but it's not a baked bean. It's cold, and you eat it cold, and I like it cold. Really good.
No, yeah. I'm a fan. I this is my first time trying this one, but I really like it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like that y'all brought were the mushrooms.
Oh, they're like
Those-
pickles, don't they?
They're like pickled mushrooms or something, but those are very good too.
Yeah, I was going to ask about those because we didn't have those.
Is that
at your house.
something typical that you pickle? I'm figuring
And
that
just
there's
so
a lot
every-
of pickling.
Just so everybody knows, Yana hates mushrooms.
very much so.
So that's why we didn't have them at your house.
Let me
I
put
don't
it this
care
way.
what everybody else likes. I don't like mushrooms. You're not getting mushrooms.
Okay, let me put it this way. For Christmas, my husband requested beef Wellington. I peeled the mushrooms.
You ruined it.
I did. I
So
ate the
you're not going to
beef.
eat my beef Wellington if you come over.
I mean, I'll eat the beef.
So we don't ever want to make beef Wellington here with you all. Just
You'll
do
be disappointed.
Just do a fillet.
Is it a texture thing?
It's everything.
Do you really taste it that much in the beef Wellington?
I know it's there.
Oh,
I
just
don't want
knowing
it,
it's
yeah.
there. Okay. I'm not going to argue
She's
with you.
like
'cause-
she's like a child. I mean, like she's like I hated it once. I'm never gonna try it again.
I've tried it again. It's just not my thing.
With mushrooms, we don't really pickle them, but we most like salt them.
Okay.
I guess it's just the difference is you don't add the vinegar, right? You just salt it and water, pepper, and salt, and you just put it under the press for a couple of days, and then once
That's
they
it?
ferment,
Yeah.
outside
Wow.
you just out on the counter, and then you put them in the fridge. But you will find a lot of pickled things in Russia, right? Because your tomatoes, your cucumbers, so pickles.
Wait. Pickled tomatoes?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Oh,
I've
they're good.
never
Oh, yeah,
had
they're
pickled
good.
Oh,
tomatoes.
yeah.
I don't
That's
like
so
them.
good.
Wait. Okay, so. What?
Yana doesn't
doesn't
like
like
them. She doesn't like it. She's the pickiest eater I've ever met in my
So
life.
is it like the cherry
No,
tomato?
no,
The
no, no,
big
no,
tomatoes.
The regular tomatoes,
Regular
yeah.
size.
Pickled tomatoes, pickled cucumbers. You can
Cucumbers, I guess.
What's the white one?
The weird one is the pickled,
Pickled watermelon.
Watermelon.
No.
Pickle, that's kind of
Watermelon.
doesn't make sense.
It's
Does
really
it
good.
work?
It's actually yes. It's
It
actually
does.
really good. Yes.
Pickled cabbage.
Are these
get
like
that.
canned
Pickled
or
apples.
in a jars?
Pickled
Can you find them
apples?
at the?
jar.
Can you find them at these grocery stores?
I've seen tomatoes and cucumbers, but not necessarily the watermelon anymore. But earlier in Soviet Union times, I guess not everybody had even a fridge, and so you would put in your
To
apartment
make it last.
Yes, to make it last over the winter, right? And then also right underneath your window, there was a little
Storage-ish area.
compartment, yeah, because it's so cold, like underneath your window, and then you would keep things there. I even remember having that.
Wow.
My grandmother has that in her apartment.
Okay, now I really, tomatoes to me are that sweet kind of
Yes, I
taste
can't.
with tomatoes, and then you're gonna
It's
brine
really good.
them.
It's really good.
So
It's probably one of the best.
Is
pickled-
it really?
Yeah, it is.
Pickled vegetables.
Can I get these at the general store here
That's
in
what I was
Houston?
The
asking.
Russian
Yes.
General Store, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Russian.
And even here
At Arbat?
Arbat,
Oh,
yes.
really?
Yes, we got them,
Okay.
and David really
Yeah.
liked them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very
Okay.
Is there a brand? No,
No.
they just
No,
they,
everything's
there's not a brand.
different.
If I just
It's
go
not
in and
like
ask
not
them,
like pickles. Pickles, you have to know your
But
brand.
it
But
came in a
with-
mixture of other pickled things.
so if
Yeah.
I go to Arbat and I say I want to try your pickled tomatoes, they'll say right here.
right here, yeah.
It'll be. It may be in a
Yes.
mixture of other things, other pickled items.
Well, and I think
Not
that
just tomatoes.
mostly you will see pickled tomatoes in a jar along with pickled pickles.
Cucumbers.
Yeah,
Cucumbers,
yeah.
Together,
So you
yeah.
just get a pickle out, and then you get a tomato
Yeah.
next, and it's like
Like
a
it's all
brine
together.
salad.
Yes, essentially. Yeah.
It's another salad.
Yeah.
No mayonnaise.
No mayonnaise. though.
What's the protein in that one?
No mayonnaise, no protein.
It's just a salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can just-
Yeah.
That is interesting.
But culturally speaking, Ty is right. I mean, you think about Russia, not a very rich country, for the normal, common people, very, very cold, and you grew your crops and you grew your vegetables and fruit throughout the summertime. You have to find a way to preserve it or store it over the winter so you have your food, readily available to you. Pickling is about the best and easiest way
Makes
to
perfect
preserve
sense.
your food to where
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be refrigerated.
Yeah, I
And
mean
it can
that was
last a long
very
time.
common in back in the day in America too, with farmers and things. That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before refrigeration and all
There are
that.
your jams and preserves also for your berries.
Yeah.
Every
you don't pickle berries, do you?
No, you just boil them with
Preserves,
the, with
yeah.
the sugar.
To make
and
your
there's
jams.
also
Huh?
compote. How would you say?
Yeah,
Compote.
compote.
Yeah.
Compote, you say it's just like a lot of water. It's like
Yeah.
a drink with apples or pears. You can
Very
Whatever it
nice.
is that
You
you
also-
grow, essentially.
Okay, so I did a little homework, and I mentioned this to you before we started the show, but you said it may not be true. The most common meal in the former Soviet Union.
Okay, when you first mentioned it, you didn't say meal, you said dish.
Good edge.
Okay, meal.
Okay, meal, I can see that being the case just because of how generalized.
What am I talking about?
You said kasha.
Kasha.
Yeah. It's, how would you describe it?
When I think about kasha, I can think of either oatmeal or buckwheat.
So
Rice,
Yeah.
any type of grain,
Yes, you're right, yeah.
essentially
Pretty similar.
boiled either in water or in milk, is what constitutes kasha.
So like
Semolina,
oatmeal.
manka.
when I
Semolina is
first,
huge.
yeah, when I first saw the picture as I was looking these up, oatmeal was exactly what I thought,
Oatmeal.
and I went,
Well, they
wow.
have
yeah,
the
hot cereal
kashi.
kinda
Don't
thing.
they have the kashi oatmeal
Brand?
or grain? Is that what that is? The kashi in the
I
grocery
think
stores?
kashi is granola.
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe.
Like a brand of
So,
yeah.
do you guys eat this? Did you ever eat it? Do you make it? Do you look for it?
You have kids,
buckwheat,
so-
buckwheat is a staple in our house right now.
Okay.
It's a perfect starch, I guess, to go with your meat, or you just pour milk over it, like a
Or you
hot
put
cereal.
mayonnaise in it.
Put some mayo.
No, you
Do you really?
Sriracha. Oh my gosh, it's very good.
Matthew Carter, what do you have
That's
to
American
say
style.
about that?
Oh, no.
Grechka fukaka. I
that
hate grech. You got buckwheat. I can't stand it.
My stepdad says it tastes like cardboard.
Yes. It's,
Okay,
it's
that's
a
what I would
very...
think.
It smells
yes.
really bad too. When
But
you
When you-
mayonnaise has to make it taste better.
It's got more flavor than rice. I mean,
Okay.
rice is just blah. Like buckwheat at least has a little bit more.
Are you
flavor.
comparing like buckwheat with rice, like white rice? Like
Yeah, white rice, but it's more kind of like a wild rice,
Okay.
because it's more hardy.
Yeah.
But it's not as.
It pairs very well with anything you can
Yeah,
think of.
it does.
I guess that with your questions like that, I'm wondering. So you think back, what's your childhood food memory or comfort food? What would be like your comfort
If
food?
your grandma was going to make you any dish you wanted growing up, what would it be to both of you all?
For my grandma, borscht.
Both? Oh, was it borscht?
Absolutely. She makes the best borscht
It's
I've
good. I've had
ever
it.
had in my life.
Okay, that's her best dish, but was it also your favorite dish?
Yeah.
Not
That-
just the
that's your
favorite of
take you
her-
back.
that she made,
That, like,
but-
if you're talking about my childhood and my childhood memories and my, my most favorite food that I've had there, that would
Borscht.
be my grandma. Not just borscht, my grandma's borscht.
Okay, but
It's gotta be baba.
Yeah.
okay. What if we took grandma out of the equation and we said,
Like just your take home country.
I'm going to go out for food, or I'm going to go to a friend's house and they ask me, what do you want me to make tonight? What would be your go? Is it the same?
I would say probably something like meat and potatoes,
Okay.
but
Like-
I would struggle to define it any further because there's about, I don't know, 100 different ways you can cook meat and potatoes
Yeah,
together.
there is.
So, and all of it is good.
Okay, so you're
It's
happy with
comfort
that.
food. To me, meat and potatoes is comfort
Comfort
food.
food. Okay, that makes
Which
sense.
is why I
Taya?
do really, really well at a steakhouse here in the United States.
I'm thinking about manti. I don't
What
know if
is
you've heard of
that?
Oh, I
Which is
love
a
I've
manti.
never
classic
heard
dish.
of that.
Manti is kind of like a dumpling with meat inside, but it's of course homemade from scratch, and it's cooked on this like steam cooked.
Steamed cooked, yeah.
There's steamer. There's special.
You've seen the dehumidifier, that you
Oh,
stack
yeah,
the trays
yeah.
just like that,
Yeah.
but it's a steamer.
It's a stackable steamer
It's a
thing.
stackable
They
steamer.
call them
Yeah, you
Monte
just boil
Vodka,
water
right?
and then
Monte
they
vodka,
cook it in
mean,
steam, and it's.
I see those in
incredible.
the Chinese restaurants when they make homemade dumplings or soup
of,
dumplings or something like that.
Ours is
Similar.
metal.
Yes.
Ours is metal,
Okay.
and our dumpling, the Monty that Ty is talking about, they're about this big.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
what's in the dumpling? Or is it
There's
just
Fish
there's
or-
meat. No, there's meat.
Meat.
It's but
Always
it's
meat.
like- yes, it's like pork and, and onions, pork and beef.
Well,
Yeah, a lot
probably
of times-
traditional Monty wouldn't have pork in it
'Cause,
because
Monty's
Kazakhs
from
are
Kazakhstan,
and they're
Kazakhstan, yeah.
Muslim.
But we make it like my grandmother would make a mixture of both pork and beef.
That's the best.
Lots of onions because
Onions,
onions give a lot of flavor and a
Juice.
lot of juice.
If you
And
say
then-
so.
Cook.
They're cooked. They're cooked. They're not raw.
And then my grandma also puts little cubes of potatoes. I love that. I love that.
So that's interesting because I never found that when I looked up. I didn't notice it. Maybe I didn't
That's
go
a
deep enough.
whole comfort food.
But
Yes.
I did find that sounds similar to that.
Pelmeni.
Pelmeni.
That's what our
Pelmeni.
kids are eating tonight.
Okay.
Yes, pelmeni
For
is
dinner.
a staple. Yes, it's like
Dumpling.
like ravioli, like
Yeah.
Russian ravioli with meat
Okay.
inside. Yep,
It
but
looked like a
smaller.
dumpling
It's
in
a
the
miniature.
picture.
They're like
it's
this
a-
big.
Are they like
Oh, it is
homemade?
smaller.
Monty is just about 2 or 3 times the size of that. That's-
And this one said in the description, meat or fish in it.
I've never had
Never had
fish.
fish.
Yeah.
Never had fish.
Never had
they
fish.
they
in
do
it.
potato. Well, no.
No meat.
Yeah. I guess-
Here's-
Well, you can
pierogi.
do
That's
potatoes, but
pierogi.
no, we call it vareniki.
But anyway, yeah.
With potatoes, yeah. But
Now- In that same kind of sandbox, I found Varenki.
Vareniki.
Vareniki.
it's like a ravioli, but with mashed potatoes inside.
It said stuffed with cheese, mashed potatoes, cabbage, meat, hard-boiled eggs, and sometimes fruits.
Yes. I've never
Cherry.
had
Oh, the sour cherries.
The sour cherry
Those are good.
pierogies, Yes.
Okay.
Those are good.
Now,
Even
Taya, you made a
potatoes or
face
cherry.
on some of the
I've
cabbage.
seen
No.
I've never seen cabbage on vareniki.
I have, along with not just the other type, it was farmer's cheese, tvarog,
Tvorog, da, yeah.
but sour. But I've never heard of, what was it that you mentioned? The one before cherries. What was the one that you mentioned before cherries?
Before the fruits.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Yes, never saw
had
that.
Never saw
Never
that.
saw that. But the more typical feeling would be mashed,
Mashed
potatoes.
potatoes.
Cheese with the mashed potatoes?
No, just mashed potatoes or cherries or farmer's cheese.
Oh, okay.
Not
Okay.
together.
Never
Not
together.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
cherry ones are good though. I love the cherries.
I have to say, I'm interested because you said Kazakhstan is a primarily Muslim country. So there's a lot of like the pork is not a big thing there because
However,
of the
big,
Muslims.
big thing there is horse meat.
Which Matt tried
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
he went to
Horse meat.
Kazakhstan.
Horse meat, yeah.
Really? I didn't know of any country that ate horse.
I didn't either.
Kazakhs do.
Well, once again, going back to the religious aspect,
Yes.
pork is not allowed because it's considered like a dirty meat. and Kazakhs are traditionally were nomads, so they would travel from one pasture to another pasture. So horses are big, beef, and I think
So I'm thinking,
sheep.
Sheep.
Yes.
you say now meat. So now I'm thinking your meat is not cow, it's horse.
It is cow as well.
Yeah, no, it's both. I can eat all of it.
So sheep, lamb, cow, and horse.
Yeah, I cannot do lamb or horse.
How about goat? I think goat when I think of nomads.
Kozy.
No goats?
I've never had
I've
koza.
never had
You
that.
never had goats?
No.
I like
That's
goats.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I've had
Afghanistan.
goat. We've had
Curried goat in
in
Jamaica.
Jamaica, and that was
Okay.
delicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so, what was your what was your
Yeah.
experience with the horse meat? Because you had 3 different preparations. Of
Yeah,
it
there was
on
one
Bish
preparation
Barmak.
that I really liked. I thought it was quite good. I think the others were kind of like either chewy or a little fatty or like whatever. But the dish overall is really good. Bish Barmak. Yeah, like I think it's really nice. It's like a noodly type of.
Pasta noodles is the biggest or the closest equivalent, and they're like squares about this big. Boil them in water or like broth from whatever you cook the meat
Okay.
in, with lots of raw onions, which is not my thing,
I'm
and
with you.
lots of lamb or horse meat.
And, you think about horse meat. That's horse meat?
Well, that's bish barmak, right?
Yeah, that's the whole dish.
the whole dish. that I
Right,
was
but that's
describing.
the
Pasta
meat
with
is-
meat, and you eat it with fingers because the name of the dish literally means 5
5
fingers.
fingers.
Oh, really?
In Kazakh, yes.
Okay, I'm going to need to get a picture of that and post it on the Facebook. That's interesting.
Yeah.
When I think about a cow, though, you think, okay, do I want the sirloin, the ribeye, the fillet?
You go for filet.
I can get a brisket, I can get a flank steak. I got all these different kind of cuts. When you think of a horse, is there certain cuts that you go, okay, I want this piece of the horse or this piece? Never thought I'd have a conversation about how to eat a horse.
I was born and raised in Kazakhstan. I have no idea. My
Okay.
uncle actually did his research, and he went to the market and got the cuts of meat for us,
Okay.
and
That's
that was
interesting.
it.
I mean, I would assume there's got to be better cuts than others, as you.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
And honestly, like America is one of the. I think like horse meat like is consumed in other countries as well. It's
Okay.
just America has this. I think it has a law against eating horse for some reason. But
The only thing I can think of for horse is, you know what it is, right?
yeah, well, glue.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
all I can
yeah,
think of.
that kind of stuff.
That's
But
all
like
I
if
can
you think
of.
about like the Kazakhs, I mean, horses were like their mode of transportation probably, and that they're like nomads, so they always
Culturally very significant.
they always had
Yeah.
horses around.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one I saw, which was very curious to me and looked very good, and I'd like to try. Hopefully, you guys make it.
Hint, hint.
You mentioned it, Dave.
Which was that?
Pirog?
Oh,
Pierogi.
Pierogi.
Пирожки.
It looked like a big pie stuffed with meats and stuff.
Kind of like kulibaka, maybe.
Pirog.
Pirog, yes.
Pirog. Yeah.
It looked like almost like a calzone,
But like a lot larger, and
Yeah.
people go creative with how to decorate it and all
dough
that.
on
Yeah.
top. Mhm.
So this is different than what you were saying?
No, it's the same, right?
No, I just got confused with the
Oh, okay.
Vereniki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big.
This looked like a bread type,
It is.
like a crust, and then you
Stuffed,
stuff it, and that's why to me it kind of initially reminded me of a calzone.
Yeah. It's got that thing going on with it. I really like them. They're good.
What, pirog?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you make pirog at home?
I don't think I've
No,
ever
we had
made
it at the Russian restaurant one time.
We did?
Yeah.
Which one?
The one in Houston. The former one in Houston.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well,
Well,
that's okay.
But I think, if that's what everybody wants to try, I'd be happy to
We'll just look up the recipe and make it.
figure it out. My dad makes what's called kulibaka, and it's another version of a pirog, and it's this big, you have two essentially thing, or 2 layers of dough, like the base one and the top one. Everything in the middle is like rice or vegetables or chicken, and it's like layered.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use crepes or blini to separate the layers. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's,
Okay,
that's
that's
your
interesting.
kulibaka.
Yeah.
Very, very traditional.
Well, Matt, tell us what we're drinking in our glass now. This is a spirit from Russia.
Well, it's actually from Armenia.
Okay, from Armenia.
So in the, I guess, we think about our wine region in California and that kind of thing. So in the Soviet Union, obviously, they're not having a lot of contact with other countries. It's pretty closed-in type of system that they had. So part of the Soviet Union was Armenia. Armenia has its own wine region, so we're drinking Ararat cognac. And if you think about the Bible, the Ararat mountains, that's where Noah
Linden.
Landed.
landed. So anyway, and I think Ararat is extremely popular cognac in Russia.
Is
And
it a...
it's technically a brandy, but they market it as cognac. I don't know. I'm sure
how do
the
they get away
French.
with that?
I'm sure the French are just pissed off or something, but they don't care. So
So is this considered like you have to be kind of well-to-do to buy this? Is this inexpensive or is this...
Not this one. Do we have the 20-year or
I would have brought it, but we finished the bottle. So Ararat has 5. They have 10.
They have 3. They have 5. They have 7, maybe.
No, it's all in 5s.
So they have a 3-year-old.
And then they have a 20, and then they have a 30.
Oh, wow.
So and they're all pretty good. I mean, I'm just kind of dipping my toes into brandy and cognac and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know anything, but I know that I kind of like this.
Yeah, I like
It's
it
good.
too.
I taste cherries. Like it's sweet. It's nice. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's wine grape base, so
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
see where
it's-
you get that profile.
Yeah, but it's really nice. And there is a story about how brandy became popular in Russia. I don't know it exactly because I learned about it
So
at
you're
the.
just teasing us.
So you're making it up.
I actually
There's a
tried,
story, but I'm not going to tell
I
you.
tried to research it coming over here, and I learned about it during my tour of the Russian Vodka Museum. That at some point in time, in the early, I think it's in the early 1900s, that cognac became very, very popular in Russia, and anyway, it's remained popular ever since.
So vodka, beer, and we're going to call it
Cognac.
cognac.
Yeah,
Not
the
brandy.
Russians
We're
would
gonna
call it cognac, but
Yes.
we would call it brandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that the 3 most popular drinks, alcoholic drinks? Mm-hmm. So wine in general, real what I call, Napa Valley, Bordeaux, French, Italian wine. Is wine at all popular in this former Soviet Union? Not really.
Really good wine would be considered wine from Georgia, the
Okay.
country
Yeah.
Georgia. But growing up, I never heard about any other wine than
Okay.
Georgia wine.
Yeah. And my family, my mom likes sweeter wines, so they're your table.
Stella Rosa.
They're table wines. They're designed to kind of complement whatever you're eating and not the other way around. Something
Okay.
very easily drinkable, I guess.
Okay.
But I can't think of any experience that I've had there that would say, okay, wine is really big here.
No.
I think it's vodka and beer and cognac.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get ready to finish the podcast, and you don't finish a meal without having dessert. And so there's some dessert that was brought by Yana. Did you pick this up, or
I
Taya?
did at the Russian store. So we have 2 different cakes. We have something that's called a Raffaello. There's actually a very popular candy called Raffaello, and it's a little wafer shell with cream inside and a full almond inside, and it's coated in
Chocolate.
Coconut?
coconut shaving.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow,
right. That's
okay.
right.
So that's one of those cake. I've never had that particular cake, but that's what it's called. That's the name. And the other one is a sour cream based cake. Now that cake is
Ooh.
very popular. Smitanli tort. You would expect to see layers. And the layers are separated from each other with that sour cream based cream, and the cake will always be crusted, I guess, with crumbled up cake layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
They both sound very good, so it'll be fun to try those. And we'll do that. We won't do it on the air. We'll do that in just a minute, but we wanted to let everybody know we're going to have a little Russian dessert after we.
Oh, and
get
then
off.
Taya also brought halva.
Oh, what is this?
Tell us what halva is.
It's
Super
very
fancy.
sweet. No, very sweet condensed
Sunflower
sunflower
seeds.
seeds.
Yep.
Oh, okay, wait.
Huge lot of
It's
sugar.
a block of sunflower seeds.
Crushed up,
Like
like
a brick.
ground
Sugar.
up.
Okay, that's when you mean
With
condensed,
sugar.
kind of pressed together,
It's like a brick of crushed up
Really?
sunflower seeds with sugar.
and you can cut through and
Yes.
get a piece. And
No,
Like,
you
just, like,
break it off.
crumbles up.
oh, so it
Good
reminds
with tea. You drink it with tea.
you know what it reminds me of? My thought goes to peanut brittle.
No.
Can you show it?
It's just
Like right there.
And I had no idea, but sunflower seeds are very popular in Russia.
Oh, really?
It's
Yeah,
like the
Semishki.
cheapest therapy you will ever find. You buy a bag of roasted sunflower seeds
In
and
shells.
in shells, and you just like crack them and eat them, and
You
kind of
can
like
see-
what you would do with pistachios.
Yeah.
And like it just calms you down. I don't know. what
Okay,
it
yeah,
is.
this is interesting. That's dense.
it's very dense, very heavy.
Very, yeah.
I had to
Calorie,
get-
but it's incredible.
So, what is the language written on here?
That's Russian.
I hope
That
it's-
is Russian.
Yes.
Because I didn't know if it's from Georgia or Kazakhstan,
No,
if
like
it's a
Russian.
different dialect or something. Wow, smells good.
It's
It's very good.
I hope
delicious.
you like it. Yeah, it's really good. It's one of the guilty pleasures.
Oh wow, that smells really good. Okay, so we're gonna close up the show the way we started the show. Is that right?
I think so.
Another
It's-
shot.
What
But
you?
with a better vodka.
This is a
top
different
shelf.
vodka.
It is
This
a different vodka.
So we've worked our way up.
It's called beluga.
Oh, that one's yours.
Matt will tell you all about it.
Oh, that one's mine. Okay.
Do y'all have a pickle?
I still have one.
Turn this towards Matt.
All right. All right. Well. All right. So we've got some Beluga vodka, which is supposed to be good vodka. It's
Beautiful
from
bottle.
Russia,
Yeah.
so and it's a cool bottle.
Gorgeous.
It is a cool
If
bottle.
only we had the sounder. But
We do have the sounder.
there it is. There it is. But anyway, I don't want to be the one giving the cheers since I'm not running
This
the
is
podcast.
this vodka is supposed to be a lot smoother than your traditional vodka because I think this one is distilled 3 more times, so it's supposed to be really really smooth.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever that means.
Cool.
What do we
Na
say again?
zdrowie.
Na
Zdrowie.
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 Dana.
But not, yeah, drink it up.
That's
I don't know how much I get to
I
taste
really like
the
that.
vodka because I go right to the
It's
pickle.
very
Oh
smooth,
no, you
actually.
gotta do it
I didn't
without
even have
the-
This,
taste
that, I
That
really
is
like
good
this
vodka.
vodka.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost
I
got kind of like
need
a
a pickle.
pickly taste to it. I didn't even taste it
I
with
didn't
the
even need a
pickle.
pickle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
That
good.
is good vodka. And when we say na zdrowie, that literally translates to your good health.
Okay.
Okay, I don't
Like
think
some-
that's 80 proof. Is that higher than 80 proof?
That's 80 proof.
It is. It's got more bite on it than the
Yeah.
last one.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's actually good.
Oh yeah.
That warms you up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's cold in Russia.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
also
point.
45 degrees here, so
Talking about inside.
Well, you know.
Yana always likes when she comes over. I have it so warm in here.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's just too warm.
Nice. Thank you
Well-
for sharing.
Ladies, thank you for coming on and letting us talk about your food from your home countries. And I see
for
how I said
having us,
countries, so-
there you go.
which would be Georgia, Kazakhstan, Russia. Where are we leaving out? What's the other? countries that
gosh,
would?
a lot.
Ukraine
Too
is
many.
borscht.
Okay.
Borscht is Ukrainian. Manti is Kazakhstan. Plov is Uzbekistan. I mean,
You said we didn't want to offend anybody, so I don't want to leave anybody out.
then you'll just prepare yourself for another 20 minutes of.
We're just going to say the former Soviet
There
Union.
you go.
There you go.
But no, this was a lot of fun, and as much as I enjoyed eating the food the first time I got to enjoy it, I enjoyed learning more about the cuisine tonight. I know we asked a lot of questions that night, but this was a lot of fun. I think people listening will get a kick out of it. Do you guys want to give an email address or a phone number so they can contact you on how to cook these dishes?
Probably not.
Not this time, but contact Robin.
Get on.
Any comments on food, wine, and whiskey? Absolutely, we'll be happy to answer.
And then I'm sure you can get on Pinterest, and they have recipes and different things for even Russian cuisine. Have you ever looked?
I just Googled.
There's lots.
Yeah,
I just
Okay.
We just
Googled.
Googled
So-
a lot of recipes, yeah.
I'm sure we talked about a lot of things that sound good, so definitely go, look them up and make these things because I will tell you they are fantastic. Really, really good. Thank you very much, ladies. I had a blast. Thank you guys for joining and giving the feedback you guys have from living with these two ladies who cook all this great food.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm
Thank you
fat.
for having us.
Thank you.
Sandra, thanks for joining again.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.